Okay, hello everybody. Happy Earth Day. It's April 22nd, 2020, the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. I'm Kim O'Rourke, Middletown's recycling coordinator. Today I was scheduled to present at the Middletown Senior Center, and I'm sorry I'm not able to do that. We're all home, but this is the next best thing, and it's important that we all stay home and stay safe during this pandemic. So I'm recording this from home, and today we're talking trash. Although today is the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, I think every day is Earth Day. Every day we want to think about how we interact with our environment and try to do it in the most sustainable way. In some ways, the coronavirus has been good for our environment. For instance, we've been driving less, which means we've been emitting less carbon dioxide in the air and reducing our carbon footprint. But in other ways, we have not been very responsible. Disposable masks and gloves are already being found in our oceans, and we see them on the ground everywhere during this pandemic. So now more than ever, we need to think about our actions because they do make a difference. In Connecticut, it's estimated that residents generate about 4.5 pounds of solid waste or garbage per person per day. With the coronavirus, residential trash has been up. I've seen estimates from 3 to 5 times as high. People are home a lot more. They're cleaning out. They're not making the efforts to reduce and reuse as much. Some commercial trash is down. Some businesses are unfortunately closed. Restaurants are not working as much. But some commercial waste is up, such as hospitals and healthcare facilities. When this is all said and done, it'll be interesting to see the trends. But as we go through this, we're so grateful for our trash haulers and sanitation workers, our waste processors and recyclers who continue to manage our waste properly. To help those workers and keep them as safe as possible, it's critical that we as generators manage our waste and recycle correctly. When we talk about reduce, reuse, recycle, recycling is one way to responsibly manage our waste, but it's the last of the 3 choices. It's better to reduce waste first, not create it at all, buy items with less packaging, use durable items instead of single-use items, keep items as long as possible, and then reuse items, fix items if they break, purchase used items if possible. Don't buy new if you don't have to. Then, and only then, recycling should be the 3rd and last choice. But what is recycling? So recycling is when we have a product to discard, and to keep it timely, I've used the example of a cardboard toilet paper roll. And please note that toilet paper itself is not recyclable, just the cardboard tube. You put the item in your recycling cart. It's very important to only put the acceptable items in your recycling cart, and we'll talk about that. Then the cart gets picked up by your trash hauler. The hauler takes it to a place called a materials recovery facility, which is a mouthful, so we call it a MRF. This is a processing facility where they separate the recycling. The paper gets separated from the glass and the metal and the plastic. At the MRF, they have conveyors and blowers and magnets to separate everything. The way it is set up makes it important that only the correct materials are put in the bin and that they are clean and dry. The material has to be sorted to certain manufacturer specifications. For instance, all the paper gets put together and squished together in bales, similar to bales of hay, and tied up with wire. The paper has to meet certain requirements. Maybe, for example, 80% mixed paper, 20% cardboard, and it can't contain more than 3% contamination, meaning items that don't belong, such as glass or food. With the current market conditions, it's very important the material be as clean as possible. If it meets the specifications, it's sold to a manufacturer who then turns it into a new product. And if people buy that product, it truly gets recycled and continues the cycle. Recycling is a large industry in Connecticut and the nation. It provides thousands of jobs in Connecticut, billions of dollars in wages and tax revenues. It's an important piece of solid waste management and the economy. There's lots of reasons to recycle. First and foremost, it saves water and natural resources. Recycling 1 ton of paper conserves 17 trees. Recycling plastic conserves oil. Recycling steel conserves iron ore. Recycling saves energy. Recycling steel and tin cans saves 60 to 74% of energy. Recycling paper saves about 60%, and recycling plastic and glass saves about 1/3 of the energy compared with making these products from virgin materials. Recycling reduces air and water pollution, and it reduces greenhouse gas emissions by not having the materials go to landfills and incinerators. So, in Connecticut, everyone is required to recycle certain items, and that is still the case. There's been no changes to this law during the pandemic or the downturn in recycling markets. We are still required to recycle. These are the items that need to go in your recycling cart. So glass and metal food and beverage containers, plastic containers, milk cartons and cardboard juice boxes, not the juice pouches. Aluminum foil has to be clean. Corrugated cardboard, paperboard, newspaper, mixed paper, magazines, and catalogs. Those are all required to be recycled. So it's very important to recycle only the correct items and recycle them properly. Many people are wishful recyclers, meaning they wish that it could be recycled. But now more than ever, that doesn't work. Recycling is complex. An item might technically be recyclable, but it must be able to go through the system and actually get recycled. So some items can be recycled outside of the curbside collection, like plastic bags, but they can't be put in your cart because if they go through the system, they clog everything up, and we have a slide on that in a little bit. So you really need to know what is acceptable in the cart and only put those items in the cart. It makes a big difference. People are working on the sorting lines, and it's dangerous if you put the wrong items in the bin. Bowling balls, needles, batteries, these are all dangerous items that should go in the trash. If you don't prepare the items correctly, that's a problem too. Water bottles with water in them can explode, or they are too heavy and aren't sorted by the blowers properly. Food can mix in with paper and ruin bales of material. It is important to remember that these materials are commodities. Someone is buying them to make something. For better or for worse, China is not taking U.S. materials anymore. This has made the markets more competitive, and the quality must be better than in the past. It's important to note that in Connecticut, in Middletown, our recyclables are still being recycled. No processors in Connecticut, no MRFs in Connecticut have asked for a waiver to stop recycling. Our processor has assured us that our material is getting to a market and being recycled. However, recycling is much more expensive than it used to be. It costs money to clean up the material to make it an acceptable quality. So it makes an economic difference to recycle right. You can find information on what to recycle here. Recycle CT is a statewide organization that provides universal information on recycling for Connecticut. Middletown follows these guidelines. They also have a recycling wizard where you can type in the item that you have a question about, and it will tell you how to dispose of it. You can also go to the City of Middletown website, go to Public Works and Recycling, and we have a complete list of items that you can recycle, and we also have the wizard. The list pertains to the City Sanitation District and private haulers working in Middletown. Connecticut has a guide like this, which tells you what goes in your bin and what stays out. For instance, cardboard, magazines, and milk cartons go in the recycling cart. Gift-wrapped ice cream containers and shredded paper stay out of the bin. Here are some pandemic-specific items that can be recycled. Wipe containers empty wipe containers can be recycled, not the wipes themselves, just the containers. Paper towel and toilet paper rolls, not the actual paper towels and toilet paper. Empty liquid soap containers, and empty plastic containers that had cleaner in it. The spray top should go in the trash. A regular cap can stay on the container, and loose cap should go in the trash. These items stay out of the bin. Plastic bags, styrofoam, bag recyclables or trash, tanglers such as garden hoses and hangers or clothes, loose bottle caps and pill bottles are too small. Anything under 2 inches gets it falls through the conveyors and ends up as trash. It is important to note that during this pandemic, the curbside pickup program for textiles, the pink bag program, has been suspended. So people can bring their textiles to one of our clothing bins at the senior center, or most schools have them, but clothing does not go in the recycling carts. These items also should not go in the recycling. All these items go in the trash. The masks, the wipes, the paper towels, except for the tubes, the gloves. Please be careful about the way you take them off and put them in a trash bag in the trash. And Lysol aerosol containers, they go in the trash. Only food grade aerosol containers can be recycled. So I need to mention the recycling arrows put on plastic containers. I get a lot of questions about this. We do not use these symbols to determine whether an item is recyclable in the carts. These are acceptable in the carts, I should say. These arrows were created for manufacturers to know what resin the product was. There really was no connection to the recyclability. Unfortunately, for years, they were used to educate people on what to recycle. However, with new products coming on the market and different types of plastics, it's really becoming just too confusing to use the arrows because there's no connection between the people who put the arrows on the products and the recyclers. So now we tell people we recycle plastic containers. We don't recycle plastic film or plastic pouches. Only plastic containers go in the cart. There is a new symbol that the manufacturers are using, and they're called how to recycle labels, and it's how with the number 2 recycle, and these are good to watch for. Not all products have them, but they are becoming more prevalent. They will tell you how to recycle an item. For instance, this is an Amazon plastic envelope that they ship things in sometimes. There's a how to recycle label on it, and it says it's recyclable, but you have to bring it back to a store drop-off. It does not go in the recycling cart. More and more products are starting to have these labels, and they are very helpful. There's always new products coming out, and it's important to note that most likely these items are not acceptable in your recycling cart. None of these items on this picture are acceptable. Plastic pouches, plastic freezer food bags, those don't even go to a store drop-off for plastic film either. The 6-pack tops, coffee pods, plastic silverware, and coffee cups. Even if they have a traditional recycling arrow on them, they are not acceptable. The manufacturers, as I said, the manufacturers making these items are making them for certain purposes and do not think about their end-of-life disposal. We're trying to change that, but right now it's not a big concern from the manufacturing end. Please don't use plastic bags for recycling. Recyclables must be loose. If bags are sticking out of a recycling cart, it should not be picked up. If it is, those bag recyclables are most likely getting pulled out and thrown in the trash. Workers don't have time to unbag the recyclables. They don't even know what is in the bag. So if you look at the picture on the right, one is recycling, one is trash, but there's no way to know which is which. This picture is one of the conveyor systems at a MRF. The bags and film get twisted all around the components of the conveyor, and then everything has to be shut down so the workers can manually climb on the equipment and pull out all the bags. The machinery for single-stream recycling is not developed to handle plastic bags and film. Bags and film should be reused or brought back to the store, such as Price Chopper, for recycling. The plastics industry has developed a voluntary program to take back these plastic bags and film. You can bring these items back to the retailers who agree to collect it. And as I mentioned, in Middletown, Price Chopper and Stop and Shop do take them back. They must be clean and dry. So if your bags are wet and sticky, they need to go in the garbage. However, in Middletown, we don't use single-use plastic shopping bags. So we've stopped generating those bags, which have significantly reduced littering and pollution. On October 1st, 2019, Middletown banned the use of single-use plastic shopping bags and required commercial establishments to charge 10 cents for paper bags. Shoppers were encouraged to bring their own reusable bags. During COVID-19, Mayor Florsheim suspended the requirement for stores to charge 10 cents for paper bags. He did not remove the ban on plastic shopping bags. There's no evidence showing that the plastic shopping bags are safer to use. In fact, evidence shows that the virus lasts longer on plastic than cloth or paper. So the store bags are in no way sterile. They have passed by many hands on their way from manufacturing to the store checkout. So there's no reason why they are safer or better. Here are some earth-friendly shopping tips. Bring your own reusable bag and bag them yourself. Use a laundry basket or box and put it in the shopping cart to pack your groceries in. Put groceries loose in the cart and then just pack them in the car. Or use the store-provided paper bags. And always don't touch your face and wash your hands when you return home. Or better yet, use sanitizer after shopping and then wash your hands when you return home. Reducing food waste and diverting food waste is one of the biggest actions we can take to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Food waste comprises at least 20% of what we throw away. It is best to reduce food waste as much as possible. So the waste you can't reduce can be a valuable resource. It can be turned into black gold and used in gardens or turned into reliable clean energy. If you can't compost at home, you can bring food waste to the recycling center at no charge. We work with Blue Earth Compost, who delivers it to the anaerobic digester in Southington, and there it gets turned into clean energy. The carts that we have at the City Recycling Center, there's a picture there, we take loose food waste. So you just bring your food waste in a container or in a bag and then empty it out into the carts, and then it'll get taken to the anaerobic digester. Blue Earth will also pick up curbside for a charge. You can contact them directly at blueearthcompost.com for pricing and quotes. I think during the pandemic, they are running a sale also to get a reduced price for 6 months, I think. So just a reminder that this is why this is so important for not only for us, but also for our future. And this is me. So thank you for sticking with this. It's certainly not my normal way to do presentations. Usually at this point I take questions and there's often a lot. So please feel free to call or email me if you have any questions about recycling or trash or plastic shopping bags. I hope you found this presentation helpful. If it works, I may try to do other presentations on other recycling related subjects. And feel free to send me topics if you are interested in hearing about them. Stay safe, stay home, and stay well. And I really look forward to seeing everyone in person soon.